Joe Dispenza says there's an interesting fact about how we can envision the future. We can start remembering the future as if it's already happened by taking the time to meditate, to focus, to visualize what that is. And then once we start visualizing what the future truly is and what we want for ourselves based on what we don't want from the past, we can then start creating a reality that starts with our inner alignment with that reality. When you look at the future as if it's a memory, your happiness about what's next is always going to be there. Are you hustling, feeling burnt out, tired, and stressed, and still not seeing the results that you're trying to achieve in life? Well, here is the secret to truly achieving success and changing your outcomes permanently. My name is Chris Monroe. I'm a transformative coach, and I'm here to tell you that the old formula of stressing ourselves out, burning out, and overworking ourselves is not getting us or getting you or anyone closer to achieving the goals that you're trying to work through in life. You see, for so long, for so many centuries, we always focused on working harder, working more, getting up earlier, working later in the day, 10-hour work days, 12-hour work days, and for some reason, the bills just keep piling up. The stresses keep piling on, and we don't make the changes we're looking to find in our life. The reality is, we're not aligning with our true joy, happiness, and our spiritual guidance, allowing that to flow through us and dictate our actions. You see, when you're working on something that you're passionate about, you're not truly working hard, you're working smart. You're working with love and a powerful state of being, becoming who you are in this world. So often, we're stuck living in this fear state, the state of what might happen if I don't hustle or work harder than the person next to me. Will I have my job? Will I keep going where I'm going? But the reality is, we're still stuck in the miserable, frustrated outcomes that really don't align with what we're trying to have in life. Let's talk about aligning with your goals and your passions. I want to start off by sharing a little story about something I experienced. As a young 20-something looking to get out in the world and start my career, a relative said to me that, "Stop worrying about my happiness. You'll never be happy. You just have to work." And for so long, I chose that path. All that path was bringing me closer to my deathbed. I became overweight, out of shape, almost ready to go into a diabetic coma when something happened that dramatically woke me up in life. It was tragedy. It was something I didn't expect to happen, and it pulled me out of the workforce for an extended period of time. During that time, I thought I was going to feel miserable. I thought I was going to feel sad. But you know what truly happened? I found myself, my passions, and allowed that to push me forward to becoming the best version of myself yet. In fact, you can't get anywhere in life closer to the goals you want by living and dwelling in the misery that you think you have to stay stuck in to get out of it. So often we stay stuck in situations that really do not align with the true purpose and goals we have for ourselves. We allow the thought processes of society and what people have told us since childhood to become our realities, which then takes us away from what we truly dream of being inside of our hearts. There are so many artists that have this masterpiece inside of them, but they're buried in a grave, stuck with their dreams, have never been brought to fruition. There's so many musicians, there's so many writers, there's speakers, there's so many business leaders that are stuck living in mundane lives, that are working a 9 to 5 that beats them down every day. We live in a world where people are not able to continue and be happy, but still forging forward, pushing, thinking that a grind is going to make things change. The reality is we have to take the time to align with our joy, align with our happiness, and then let the action inspired from those feelings change what we're doing on a daily basis. Take the time to look at your life and imagine what it would be like if you woke up every morning with joy in your heart, if you woke up every morning working on something that you were passionate about and didn't worry so much about the outcomes, but you just knew that this was what you're here for. This is how the world is going to change because of your input in it. Yes, you have to take your time and believe that your passions can provide. You have to take the time to know your passions can provide. You see, we get stuck in the state of mind thinking to ourselves, well, I can never do that. It won't pay my bills. It won't do this. But you know what the reality is? The more you keep thinking those thoughts, the more that thought becomes your reality. So yes, you may be a talented artist, but stuck working 2 or 3 levels below your skill level because you believe your success will not create the financial equity that you want to have in your life. You may be stuck with a masterful message sitting inside of you, but you're not able to get it out because you're stuck believing that I can't speak for a living. I can't share my thoughts. I can't coach and make others better. The reality is, the first steps in making a change is adjusting your mindset. Once your mindset is in alignment with your goals and the passions and what you're really trying to accomplish, whether it's business, personal, family, or just life, the reality is your mindset and your approach to how that can be possible for you is the first thing that needs to change. We're all sitting around looking for changes outside of us to justify, okay, now it's time to take this big step. No. Take the big step inside. Change the mentality, change the instinct, change the way that you look at that one beautiful version of yourself that you're afraid to allow out in the world. For whatever reason it is, there's something holding you back from reaching into that bag of greatness that sits inside of you, that allows the true version of what you're here for to become your reality. When I'm talking to someone about changing your mindset, I'm not talking about just living life in a different way and spending money you don't have. I'm talking about consider the fact that there is a version of you that exists today that is living their dreams, that's pursuing and living and enjoying a happy, healthy, and wealthy life. And if you feel like you're so close but so far, then the reality is you're at the tip of the change that you need to find within yourself to make that version of you the permanent now version of you. I truly believe that whether you're living in a state of poverty, you're homeless, or you're in a toxic workplace or marriage, you can change and shift into the reality and the version of yourself that you truly want. I remember working around people that every day came to work, said, oh, well, another day at work. Oh, well, this is just what I have to do. And I would ask them, like, why don't you get a different job? Why don't you go somewhere else? And there was a laundry list of complaints as to why that couldn't be a possibility. Usually places like that, I didn't last long because I didn't fit in with the casual misery water talk where everyone would huddle around a water cooler and complain about how sad it was to come to work today, how frustrated they were with what they were doing, or how their manager didn't believe or give them enough credit for the projects. It didn't matter. All I understood was complaining about things that you don't like is not the mindset you need. That brings me to the point of understanding that when you're looking at your life from the perspective of pain and misery and something that you don't want, you're not actually looking at the true benefit of why that negative aspect of your life exists. First and foremost, it exists because you attracted it into your life. You attracted it to give you perspective on what you actually want. You attracted it to help shift your mindset to a greater, higher, loving, wonderful place. You're stuck looking at what you have now as if it's something that you can't get out of, but you don't realize the previous version of who you were created the current version of what you're experiencing. And the future version that you want to experience is created by the current version of who you are today. So why not change and become that person today so you can attract the version of yourself that you're trying to be that you wish you could be? The reality in so many cases, most people just don't believe that they can change. Most people believe that they have a situation they're stuck in that cannot be any different than what they're living today. That is just a false reality. It's a false truth based in fear. If you understand anything about fear, it's false evidence appearing real, and you've chosen to believe that evidence as the truth of your reality. Therefore, you're living a fear-based life, afraid to make the changes, afraid to make the moves that are going to get you to the highest, most powerful version of yourself. When you can decide, I want to change, I want something more, rather than staying stuck looking at what you have and being sad and frustrated about it, you can truly make a difference in your life. You can truly become the version of yourself you've always dreamed of being. you can get into that next stage of who you want to be without having to change anything else around you other than your mindset. And that is called aligning with your divine purpose. We all have an inner guidance, an inner voice, a spiritual guide showing us where we should be and where we should be going. The sad reality of it is that spirit guide is only going to show you where you should be going. And if you refuse to take those actions and stay stuck in that negative mindset, that fear-based mindset, that unpowerful version of yourself that is not becoming a true whole human being, then you're going to be cut off from that guidance, cut off from that system. And life is going to keep repeating the same mistakes, the same problems over and over again until you make the change that you truly need to make. I truly believe that everything is here for our benefit and opportunity to learn, grow, and become more of who we should actually be. If we're not taking the time to appreciate the challenges as well as the success, then we're not truly understanding what a whole human actually is. So you see, being a whole human is operating from that divine perspective of loving guidance, realizing that this moment here, good, bad, or indifferent, we attract it to ourselves, all for the good and the greatness of where we're trying to go in life. We're not here to be stuck living in this miserable place, blaming someone else for what's happening to us. Take accountability up for it. Whether it's your ride home and people keep cutting you off, maybe that's to slow you down to avoid you from getting into an accident. Maybe you're stuck in a job that's there to show you that you really should be working and doing something greater. It pays the bills and it gets you where you're trying to go financially. But maybe there's something in that role that can teach you how to be a different version of yourself and find your true happiness. I remembered I had a consulting job. It was a short-term contracting job where the manager just seemed to have an issue with me. I couldn't figure out what it was. And I later came to realize it was because I reminded her of someone from her past. And she was so clueless that there was a similarity there that all of her frustrations came out to me, and I didn't understand it most of the time. I didn't last long in the role, but what I came to realize was if when I become a manager, I don't want to take and carry my past into my future and look at the people that I'm dealing with as if there's someone that is affecting me from the past. You see, when you stay stuck in the past, you start treating your future like it's the past has repeating itself. Joe Dispenza says there's an interesting fact about how we can envision the future. We can start remembering the future as if it's already happened by taking the time to meditate, to focus, to visualize what that is. And then once we start visualizing what the future truly is and what we want for ourselves based on what we don't want from the past, we can then start creating a reality that starts with our inner alignment with that reality. When you look at the future as if it's a memory, your happiness about what's next is always going to be there. Your joy, the inner alignment of yourself is going to instantly change, and you will always appreciate the opportunities, both good and bad, to grow from, to pour greatness into your life, to enrich your soul's purpose, and get closer to that divine purpose you're here to achieve. Whether it's business, personal, there's a way and a path to go forward. We're all here for growth. In fact, I'd like to take a moment to bring up my book, Growth Engine, which is found on my website, findyourlifebalance.com, linked below in the description. In that book, I talk about how mindset is vitally important to get to the next stage of life. There's also some tools and tricks to be able to create those changes and implement those changes, which is a great opportunity to shift and grow today. In fact, I believe that aligning is so important with our growth forward that every day I spend a few minutes before I get out of bed checking my own alignment. You see, I'm not perfect. There's some mornings I wake up and I'm thinking about something that happened in the past that I don't want in the future. But the first thing I do is catch myself in that negative cycle and shift it to something that I want to happen. I shift it to me speaking and teaching and coaching people and what that feels like and the joy that brings into my life. In fact, guarantee if you take 5 minutes every morning to assess your mindset, to think, am I thinking from a positive, powerful, loving state? Or am I thinking from a fearful, negative state of mind that's attracting things into my day I don't want? The reality is, most of us are not taking the time to do that. And when we don't take the time to shift our mindset, we don't take the time to really align with our goals. If we don't align with our goals, we're aligning with our fears. And when you align with your fears, you bring more fears and more things you dislike into your life. So you're always attracting, you're always manifesting. But the reality is, if you're not aligning with your divine purpose, then the actions you're taking are aligned with the fear purpose. There's no reason to continue down a road. Once you know that, you should never allow yourself to take action before alignment. The important aspect of aligning with your goals and making that truly who you are as a loving being is our true power, is your true power, and how you get from a life that you don't want to the life of your dreams. So always remember first, alignment, 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 and then action. It's not the other way around. In fact, taking action without understanding the alignment that you're actually achieving is giving you the results that you're not wanting in life. Hope you have a wonderful day. If you like this message, feel free to go to my website, findyourlifebalance.com, again, link below. Book a session, let's talk, let's set up a strategy call so we can figure out how to adjust your alignment, create a winning mindset that gives you the power to achieve your goals, and how to grow into the version of you that's just waiting to say thank you for making the changes that mattered most in my life, because I'm here living and enjoying and loving every moment of it. Have a wonderful, beautiful, and inspired day. Again, this is Chris Monroe. We'll talk soon.